true. I did in my free time. So talk to me. Tell me about this deleted scene that got released. I feel like this is kind of a weird thing to have had happen at this stage in the game. But maybe they're trying to like get some more publicity. Maybe they're trying to prolong
I think that's exactly what it is.
Interest and attention of the movie.
The Batman, Matt Reeves released deleted scene or images of.
Did you watch it? It's about 6.5 minutes long. It's a full scene.
I just got it. I got it like an hour before I was on my way over here. But I saw the images. I did scroll and see the images. And it is a more in-depth look. Well, I guess they were screenshots of the trailer, so I got to see that.
Sure. So I'm not going to...
You watched it?
Yeah, I watched it. And this isn't really spoiling anything. So I will go ahead and kind of describe the scene.
Well, it's been out, 4 weeks now? 3 weeks?
What scene are you talking about?
The movie?
No. I'm talking about the Joker thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So, I mean, I guess...
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
All right, great, perfect. Okay, so, anyway. There is a 6.5 minute interaction with Batman and the Joker. And it reveals that obviously Batman has a relationship with the Joker. Right. He has already put him away or is familiar with who he is as a character, right?
Right.
And Batman is seeking his advice in order to try to catch the Riddler. So he's bringing, this is a very Silence of the Lambs kind of interaction where he brings, I mean, it's almost a direct copy of that interaction. Like he brings this file folder, photos, evidence, all this kind of stuff. And he basically slides it through the glass door kind of over to him. And the Joker has a moment where he kind of goes through all the content and reveals what he thinks of the Riddler and also what he thinks of the Batman in the same interaction. So you get a very clear picture of who the Joker is, way more so than what you got in
I wonder why that was
the original cut of the Batman. I mean, you see his face, you see his hair, you
get
a complete understanding visually of what the Joker is going to look like moving forward. And so, yeah, I thought it was a very interesting, release to make. Like I said, the only reason I could imagine they would have done it is because they are trying to continue maybe the hype.
The hype around it, more press.
Yeah, I know that Batman has not been doing as well in China as they thought it would. They had hopes for better numbers there.
Are they on another lockdown or some shit?
They are going through some of that, yeah. So it could be related to that, or it could just be the style of
they censor a lot of.
Yes, they do censor quite a bit, and I think even like artistically speaking, they tend to not like things that are as
with blood,
dark and grimy. Yeah. Like it's a very like gritty version of the Batman. They would, I think, tend to lean more towards the Christopher Nolan version or a more superhero style
edit
version.
Things. And we were talking about video games before we got on air.
Yeah,
and like there's a mobile game that I play, and like in China, there's a version of Ghost Rider in the game, and he looks like the devil with like horns, and like that avatar of the character just has a black box on his head in the Chinese version. So like they get like super in depth about what they allow their people to consume and what they don't. But back to the Joker. I didn't watch it, but I will. I did see the images. I literally got it as I was in motion to get here. He looks... Okay, I'm going to start over. I don't like when, and this has become a thing as about 10 years ago with the sharing community, now directors and screenwriters come out after the movie and share intimate details, deleted scenes about the production and, oh, this is what I meant and this was my inspiration for the character. And I don't know if I like that. Matt Reeves gave us kind of an origin about the Joker, I think like a week after the film came out, saying, my Joker, this is why he looks, I don't want to spoil, I guess I can spoil it, right?
I think it's something like
that. Yeah. He said, this is my version of the Joker that you see at the end of the Batman, has a birth defect, which has essentially caused him to go insane because it basically, as he gets older, it distorts his image, right? And he's basically become this maniacal serial killer.
Yeah.
And he has had a relationship with Batman, which is why he knows how the Riddler was put into Arkham. That's why they kind of connect at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if I like knowing that information. Like, I kind of like being, like, we're 80s babies, right? We come from the era of, you know, you consume it and, like, that's it. You're just kind of open for your interpretation. But, and the phrase I hate saying, as a comic book fan, the Joker has so many ambiguous origins that you don't really know, and which is why I hold Heath Ledger's version of the Joker so top tier, because even in the movie he
carries that
insinuates,
theme
like,
forward.
you know how I got these scars, and every time it's a different time, so you don't really know, you know, how or what or where he came from. So for Matt Reeves to come out and say, yeah, it's a birth defect, you know, that just made him a serial killer, I'm just kind of like, yeah, you kind of took away the mystique of it.
Yeah, I think everybody probably feels like they have to put their own stamp on those characters at this point in a way that differentiates it very clearly.
And I
from
understand it. I just don't
Nolan
like
versions.
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think also the continuation of just hype and publicity is such a thing these days.
Yeah.
And for Matt Reeves, it's probably job security to a certain extent, right? Because
Yeah.
if he continues to build the hype and build the drama around the Batman, it kind of ensures his spin-off TV shows
of
and
course.
his movies and the
Yeah.
universe that he's working to build. So I kind of get it.
He's building
I feel
a
like I
thing. Like,
understand
he
it.
has to. Yeah.
I feel like I understand it to an extent, but I thought the Joker exceptionally dark looking character, very graphic,
disfigured, very, and it makes sense, I guess, if you're gonna go, because Joaquin Phoenix Joker, which was a good movie. I don't feel like it was the Joker, but I guess it was a good movie. And I say this all the time. You could have named that movie anything, and it could have still had the same premise and been this movie. So I that's a one-off, which was, it was I sat through it. I didn't watch it again, but whatever.
Yeah.
But with this one, again, man, I do like and I do appreciate different adaptations. And I guess this brings me to my question for you. Do you have Joker fatigue?
As far as, am I nervous? Am I fatigued about what they're going to do about the character, or do you think I've seen him too much?
Too much. Have you seen him too much?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think the Joker is such a important character in the Batman universe. It really feels like a missing piece if he's not a part of it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like other characters need to be brought up a bit. Like the volume on their roles needs to be cranked up. And I think that the Joker needs to be a constant presence. I'm always.
You don't know if he needs to be the main guy.
I'm always kind of, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of always looking for him or expecting his
he is
influence
the yin to the
in some
yang
way.
of Batman. So
yeah. So so I miss having him out there. Like I would rather have a movie about Mr. Freeze or other characters and have the Joker be supplemental to that,
right?
Or have elements to the story, like. We kind of had the Penguin in the Batman. Like I would like to see Joker hop in and out of some roles like that, perhaps before he maybe takes center stage, if ever. But no, I don't think I'm fatigued by it.
I think you made an interesting point, and I guess you'll have to tune in next week to see if I watched the trailer. But you made an interesting point in comparison that he Hannibal Lecter style, Silence of the Lambs. Has this kind of relationship with the Joker, and of course, Matt Reeves told us that they had this. He has already encountered the Joker by the time we see him in year 2.
Yeah.
If this is the theme of the Joker's presence, I'm not upset about that, right? because now it creates that kind of sadistical, intimate relationship that the Joker always talks about with Batman, right? He always talks about like, we are one and the same and you need me. And if this is showing that Batman is in a place where he knows that the Joker can assist him, it creates a lore within them and a kind of symbiotic relationship with the Joker about like, I know he needs me, and maybe he gets off on the Batman coming to seek his advice.
So you're wondering if maybe his role will be that of Hannibal Lecter.
Right, yeah. I would appreciate that.
He's kind of
dynamic.
always in jail as a
and maybe
reference for him.
1 or 2 movies down the line he escapes.
Sure.
And then now we get the Joker creating hysteria for Batman.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, if that's a theme, I wouldn't mind that.
It could be, especially because they didn't really land on a super well-known actor for the Joker.
Who is, I had the name.
I can't even recall his name. I'm not sure I've seen him in anything else. I probably have, but I think if you have like a star or like you really attach it to a big name, you kind of set the precedent that like they're going to be
the Joker.
Extremely pivotal at some point moving forward. Now, I think the fact that they did release this scene does kind of solidify that this actor will be the Joker.
Going forward.
But it's not like they made a major reveal at the end of it and it's like, oh my gosh, like so-and-so is going to be the Joker in the next movie. So I think they have some leeway. I think they can play with it. I would imagine that they drop the Joker into the universe in a full capacity pretty soon, if not in the next movie.
I saw some rumors about Mr. Freeze, which would be a interesting take on a grounded Mr. Freeze, because I think the only 2 iterations people have seen of Mr. Freeze is the cartoon, the animated series, which was a great story, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, which was totally animated and big and decorated. Yeah. So to kind of ground it, I don't know how, maybe he's like killing people with like liquid nitrogen, like freezing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they wind up doing. Clearly, Matt Reeves is leaning like all in to the serial killer vibe. Like that's his whole aesthetic at this point. I was having a conversation with a friend over the weekend, and we were reminiscing on the fact that we thought that this is essentially Seven.
Yeah. You told me that.
With a Batman in it. I can't remember if I said that a few episodes ago or not. It feels very much like you're watching.
It could have
this deleted scene solidifies that 100%.
Okay.
It's that dark, and it's that like it's that kind of like twisted and weird that it feels like you're watching Seven, but just
with Batman in it.
Yeah, more or less.
This has become Bad Guys and Batman.
Essentially. We'll move off of it. Did you watch anything good over the last couple of days? I watched a few movies, but
I got in my HBO Max bag heavy. I started watching Winning Time, which is interesting. It is John C. Reilly as Dr. Buss, the owner of the Lakers.
Yep.
And it basically satires the beginning of the Lakers. And, John C. Reilly is, if you don't know, he's Will Ferrell's go-to guy. He played opposite of him in Step Brothers. So it's got a heavy dark comedic tone to it, but it portrays all of the characters in it in shines a light on them in a very interesting way. Yeah, so you
So
don't
is
even
it
have to be a.
Is it a comedy or is it just
it's kind of a comedy and kind of not. You know, HBO
like
does
a dark comedy?
Yeah,
kind
like a
of?
dark, not as comedic and slapstick as like Righteous Gemstones, but it's still on par with like being an exaggerated version of these people. Still very good though. Even if you're not a basketball fan, I would
Check it out.
I would check it out. What else did I see? I saw some stuff, and I can't recall. And that's what the show is about. You go. It'll come to me.
So I watched Nightmare Alley.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
I have not.
You have not? Okay.
Let me start drinking.
So I watched that one. That's the new Guillermo del Toro film.
What's that
Came
about?
out a couple months ago, like in the theater, but it was on, and then came out on streaming, and then was released on like iTunes the other day. So,
Okay.
and then I watched the new Jackass. Did you watch that?
No.
It's on Paramount Plus.
I will. I will do something I can't say online and watch it. And then I will watch it.
It's it's great. It's fantastic.
Oh, the Adam Project.
That's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Okay. I've not seen that yet.
I'll say this. I won't spoil it for you if you guys. It's worth a watch.
Yeah.
You and Em ain't not doing anything on a, Friday, Saturday night. Just want to catch something. It's a good watch. Me and Chanel watched it. I'll say this about Ryan Reynolds. He's at the point in his career, he doesn't have to have range anymore. And it's literally just him in the same role
Yeah.
over and over and over, just doing something different. And I appreciate that, but essentially it's just like watching Deadpool out of the costume do other things.
Mm-hmm.
He's, it's kind of the same comedic element like Free Guy. Did you watch Free Guy?
Nope.
You'd like Free Guy.
Yeah, everybody was kind of hyped up on
you
that.
like-
The concept didn't interest me so much.
I kind of like let it play in the background a couple times and then came back to it.
Yeah.
But it had a lot of nostalgia inside of the movie because it's based around a video game. So it had a lot of video game elements like Ready Player One
Yeah.
inside of the like going through. So like that was cool. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to get you caught up on some things.
I
guess
watched some
will
shit,
too,
man,
but
and I'm like,
I continued with HBO stuff. Our Flag Means Death. That show, I continued with that. That's been fine. There's a new series from the guys that do 90 Day Fiance.
What's it called? Is it Love After Lockup?
No, it's not
okay.
Love After Lockup.
Oh,
it's
that show.
oh my god, what is it called? Off the Grid, Love Off the Grid.
What's that?
Okay, so the concept is you have one person that is living off of the grid, like way out in the wilderness.
Oh,
and they
I gotta
have
watch
no
this.
running water, and
Okay.
they live in a shack, like a shanty,
Mm-hmm.
and it's low key living, like they're pooping in the ground.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's dark. And they find love, I suppose, and then somebody from the city decides that they're going to move out there and live with them. That's the concept. So the show kind of follows that story.
It's on TLC?
Discovery Plus.
Okay. Yeah, they're right. They're kind of the same.
It could be on TLC, but Discovery Plus is where I've been watching it.
Yeah.
It's not as gassed up as 90 Days is now. That's kind of like that's kind of off the rails. 90 Days is like
90 Days is
shit show.
just turned into like
It's a carnival.
chaos.
Yeah. This is much more like not there yet.
Okay.
This is like very honed in. Like I've not seen anybody do anything super crazy yet. I'm like 4 or 5 episodes in. It seems pretty tame. Don't live out in the woods, but other than that, it seems pretty restrained. But yeah, no, it was Jackass was last night.
And it's the whole crew besides Bam.
So
Bam is the one that passed,
not so
right?
much. And I think this is the guys are getting older, and I think there's fewer
like 50,
of them willing to do the stunts at this stage in the game. So my only criticism of the newest Jackass is that it feels like there's only 2 or 3 core guys that are kind of back.
It's Knoxville.
Yep,
Steve-O.
he's there. Steve-O.
And Steve-O's like clean and
Pontius is there.
Yeah.
Like there's a couple, like there are some of the guys from the original crew, but it's not as many, and they're not.
Is it Wee Man? Wee Man back?
Wee Man's there.
All right.
Yeah. But they brought in a lot of new characters, a lot of new people that are just like younger
guys that can do the dumb shit.
that I think can do some of like the really aggressive stuff.
Okay.
And so it feels like Jackass, for the first time, it kind of felt like it was winding down to me. You know what I mean?
This is their outro.
It's still great. It's still really good. I don't know where I would put it like on the scale of all the Jackass movies, but you do, and they are definitely old. Like you can tell. So
like Steve-O's got new teeth and shit.
Yeah,
he's clean.
It's, like most of the group is like kind of new people, or so that's how it seems, or how it how it looks, and it just feels like the pranks are all great. A lot of hilarious moments.
Yeah,
still some really really good stuff. Definitely worth a watch.
Okay.
But I was just sad. It makes me feel old, and then I feel sad that I'm like, oh, a lot of these guys are missing, and then in the very end, they always do this. But during the trailer, or like during the credits, rather, they always play like really old footage.
Like classic stuff
of all of them. And then you see all these guys from back in the day, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many that are missing now.
Grade school watching these guys.
Yeah. So it's a bummer to see a lot, like to have to see that so many are missing.
Yeah.
You know?
Shout out to them, man.
Yeah.
I can't wait. This is like the highlight of my week. And then I get here. And I have like a brain fart about everything that I watched because I just was like anticipating getting in front of the mic. But
it's all good, man.
I did watch something interesting. Bad Vegan.
Okay, so I read some reviews of that today.
My God.
That's Netflix.
Nuts.
And there is also this interesting, I guess that's not really a conspiracy theory, but apparently, like there's a genre now of like documentaries where it's kind of like revealing like cheaters and scandal, or in the social media space, or in that pocket. Like there's a lot of
the Tinder swindler.
Yeah, like there's a whole that's a whole new genre of like shows now. And like Netflix is just cranking them out. Apparently, there's a lot of that stuff going on. It's like Catfish, but like for adults.
You'd enjoy Bad Vegan because how it starts and then how it ends is just like, yo, like nobody can be this stupid for one, but it's also like you're just like I don't know if this is. I don't know if I've met anyone that this is actually this can happen to. You know, like
I feel that about all of the shows that I've watched. I thought that about the Tinder swindler thing too. I mean, I remember watching that and thinking, I watched it with Emily, and she was sitting next to me, and she was just like, "This is not possible."
But then it is. It fucking is.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get? First of all, I consider myself a good person. You guys can argue that or not. That I'm not, but I feel like I am. You would think I am, I guess. I don't think you would be sitting here with me if I wasn't a good person. But I don't think I could ever in my life manipulate someone to that point where I'm getting hundreds of thousands of dollars from people.
Yeah.
And just, just whatever. Just parading around in my life. But it's all fraudulent.
Oh, yeah.
They're just, it's crazy.
But at the same time, like, he really doesn't do very much time.
No.
He doesn't really get in trouble for the most part.
Bad Vegan chick, I think she did like a year.
Kind of gets like a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
And all of the chaos that he kind of created is just, it seems like, I don't know if there's any restitution. They never said that there was any type of restitution. So I feel like he kind of gets away with it at the end of it.
It's
for the
nuts.
most part. He gets away with it.
And I guess it's like those people have to file charges. I don't know, like
And he's doing it again.
Yeah, he's still
They
doing
like follow him around after the fact, and he's like doing it again. He was on a couple of like talk shows after the thing came out.
My enemies.
My enemies, dude.
It's just crazy to think that people just live their lives like this.
It's wild that somebody came up with a scheme like that.
You know what?
And then actually followed through with it. It takes so much work,
dedication,
time, energy to
dedication.
Do all of that. And not to defend him, but he wasn't the only one doing it.
No.
There were other people that were complicit in his operation. And they kind of get off scot-free too. He had the bodyguard. He had the mother of his child.
They're a ring.
Like, there are other people that are helping to carry this story forward. And none of them get
time or anything.
No.
Fucking scammers.
Yeah, the one woman who was like his kid's wife or whatever was pushing the whole message. And she knew because she had gone through the whole thing already herself. So then she kind of turned around and was doing it to
it's nuts.
Everybody else.
It's nuts.
Which is, it's absolutely wild to think what people will do to each other. And I feel like it's the tip of the iceberg at this stage in the game. With social media and how the world is and like the direction that it's going, I feel like it's just going to get so much worse.
I think that's funny because I think as social media has been out for like a decade now.
Well, longer than that.
Well, yeah, like the share community has been out for longer than that. And the fact that people are still susceptible to just being bamboozled and catfished and manipulated to just do the most outlandish things without doing any type of research, like flying across the country to meet someone you've never met or even done a simple Google search. You're just reliant on not even blue text bubbles, green text bubbles.
Yeah, but I think some of these, in their defense, I think some of them did do some research on him.
Oh, yeah.
And, he still was able to get away with it. He's still able to pull it off.
Bananas.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are really willing to look the other way on things when they feel like, when they over-romanticize the opportunity or whatever the moment is. Like, there's just, if that was not an attractive guy, for example.
True.
Or something, right?
Yeah.
Like, or if it wasn't like all these fanciful things that he was doing, if it was just a regular guy, you wouldn't be forking over that type of cash. I don't think. I mean, it's hard to believe. Like, I feel like people romanticize the storyline.
They fall into the mystique of it, and that's kind of what happened with the bad vegan chick. She fell kind of allure to his persona. Yeah, like these things. He has 50,000 followers, so he can't be a fraud. Like, girl, he can buy these followers. Like, come on now.
Yes,
like, he got like 2 retweets from Alec Baldwin. And like, for you, this is a sign from the gods.
The height of fame.
You know what I mean?
Retweets from Alec Baldwin.
It's nuts, man.
You've made it.
Yeah, it's bananas. What else have I been watching, man? It's been a busy week. Man.
Well, you're going to have to check out Nightmare Alley. I'm going to recommend that one.
Okay, yeah.
You'll have to give that a watch. That is also streaming. I think that's on, what is that, HBO? It's on HBO, I believe. You can watch it there.
Okay.
So that we can kind of dive into that a little bit.
Got it.
That had a kind of a mixed reception, a split reception from audiences and critics alike. So we can dive into that.
All right. I'll check it out.
That'd be good. What's
on your news radar? You see
a lot of Avatar 2 news.
Oh,
popping
yeah.
up.
That
they
was,
really this is going to become the year of Avatar 2, not just because it's getting released this year, but they're constantly talking about it, I think, now. So they're saying that the trailer, or the first teaser for it rather, is going to release at the beginning of Doctor Strange, which makes sense to me. I mean, they got to put the teaser out at some point. The teaser is not even the trailer, and it comes out in December. So they got to start hyping the movie up at some point.
It'll be all the summer blockbusters. They'll start kind of like
I would think
squeezing it in
Avatar's got to start dropping in front of some of these.
I think Doctor Strange is like the first summer blockbuster movie. Pre-summer. Yeah.
That is, Morbius is Friday.
Oh, yeah. I read the critic
everybody
reviews,
seems to think that that's terrible.
and they're trashing it.
Yeah, everyone thought that it was going to potentially be good.
It's what I said.
It's not going to be good.
It's. I had a conversation about Jared Leto, and I like Jared Leto.
I'm not sure that I do. So go on.
With that, I think I like him, but he doesn't have any bangers.
I feel like he tries too hard.
Yeah, he doesn't have like that movie where I'm like, if you like Jared Leto, you got to watch this.
I think he needs to like stop making movies for like 5 years and then come back with some like indies.
Okay.
And like reestablish himself. I think he needs to disappear for a little bit.
And he refuses to cut the hair.
Because he just has had nothing but kind of weird movies back to back to back. And they keep giving him big roles. I'm not really sure why.
I think people like
I have not, outside of you, I'll take this back. Outside of you, I really don't feel like many people have been like, oh yeah, Jared Leto, I can't wait to see that. You're the only one that was like, I like Jared Leto.
I do like Jared Leto. I just don't. Just every time I see him, I'm disappointed.
Find me a room of like 20 people. I guarantee
that I like Jared Leto.
19 of them will all be like, Jared who?
He was it True Detective? No, it was the movie with
Chairs.
The Little Things, which was a pandemic. It was a first pandemic HBO Max movie with Denzel, Malik.
Yeah,
Remy,
I remember that coming out.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be very good. I never watched it. You can tell me otherwise.
Yo, it was basically True Detective, but with it was also like a neo-noir detective type of film, Seven-esque.
Yeah.
But shallow. It was very shallow.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of those Warner HBO releases were kind of.
Yeah. It was like I just watched it and I was like, all right, like, okay. And then Jared Leto just kind of played like, the Oscars were coming up and they were like, Jared Leto and the Little Things. And I was just like, bruh, like it wasn't. And that's the disappointment I get. Like every time I'm hyped up, they get you hype about Jared Leto flick and you see him in it. It's just like, what was the other one? Tron? I was just like, eh.
See, now I liked Tron quite a bit. I was a big fan of that. And
yeah, I like Tron.
I would love to see more Tron. Interestingly enough, they were talking about that this week in the news.
The third one, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the news about that.
I feel like it's too late.
Actually, it was surrounding Jared Leto. And it was like, he's going to return for Tron. And I'm like, all right, cool, but I wasn't blown away.
He'll return for anything.
Yo, he's about a check, bro.
Yeah.
He will come back for a check.
You said True Detective. There's news about that you had mentioned.
I sent you that, right? So I didn't get in depth into it, but I guess that's a double negative. I didn't get in depth into it, but apparently they're gonna bring it back for another series,
which is shocking to me
because the last one with Mahershala Ali was very weird. And I get the tone and the dynamic of it. They're trying to tell a story over multiple timelines. It's tired. It gets.
We did an in-depth episode on True Detective season 3, and it was. I thought by and large it was a miss. It was an exceptionally slow burn for a very limited payoff. The only biggest revelation was that they had tied it into the original series.
Yeah.
Into the first season.
The first season, yeah.
And really only in the way that like they were
in an Easter egg. Yeah.
Like they were mentioned in it, but it wasn't like a big revelation or anything like that.
It didn't contribute to the story or push it forward anyway. And I mean, I would think if that's something you're trying to do is build a universe around pairing detectives around these whole stories, there needs to be a bigger payoff, a bigger crime to solve. And it's just kind of like, yeah, you know, that killer back in '98. What about him? Ha ha. And then they move forward with the story like that was it. That was the tie-in. Like,
yeah, the brand value there. I feel like it's eroded at this stage in the game. But who knows? I
hate bashing actors I like, but they get big names and they give them extremely pleasing aesthetics with very shallow stories.
It wasn't a good script or story.
No.
It wasn't. And the second season wasn't particularly strong either.
No.
The first season was like up here, and then the other ones were like...
Well, Matthew McConaughey, I'll watch him in anything.
Yeah.
He's another guy.
They really failed to like recreate the chemistry of the first season in any way, shape, or form in the second or third. Like they got good actors and actresses, but at no point did the chemistry ever even
I totally forgot about season 2.
Match.
I don't even remember what happened in season 2. There was the chick. I don't remember.
Yeah, season 2 was really complicated.
Yeah, it was complicated and
there was
forgettable.
that one like scene where like there was like all like the politicians and like powerful people, and there was like that big party, and that was kind of like the big set piece of season 2, and they like all broke into it or whatever. It was not great.
It just, the value of that franchise just goes down and down. And I think the selling point of whoever owns that franchise is like, yeah, people watched it.
Well, I think HBO is looking to just make anything at this point.
They got so much money.
They're just going to make every TV show that they can possibly get their hands on, and anything that has any brand value, they're going to revive.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Speaking of revives, I watched the first episode of Bel Air.
Oh, how was that?
Okay. I think we're in first of all, I want to be freed of the shackles of the reboot. Like, let's just leave, if things were great, let's just leave it as is. Like, I don't know if I want new interpretation. Like, if it, like...
Dude, they're going to keep rebooting things.
I'm locked into the fucking reboot, and I just want to be set free.
They're never going to stop, because it's automatically like there is a built-in fan base already. They don't have to do, it's so much more, there's so much more work in developing a new fan base than there is in just,
which is tough, because now you're talking about generational pieces, right? And this happened with Coming to America, Coming to America 2, which was a complete shit show. I appreciate what it did and, you know, giving people work and bringing back the original cast, but the movie was trash. And then there's this Bel Air reboot, which, again, man, like, I root for black shit. I want people to win, but it was very cringy. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, it had points in it where I just kind of was like watching a car crash, and you're like, I know somebody's hurt in there. And then they get out and you're like, they're not hurt, but you're still watching it like, yo, what is going on? Yeah. Like, it's just crazy. So you're familiar with Fresh Prince, right? Mm-hmm. Will has rebooted Fresh Prince on Peacock as a dramatic adaptation of the Fresh Prince. And it takes a more serious tone with like guns and like drug dealers.
Interesting.
And Carlton's got like a coke habit. Like it's like
great.
Yeah, like hardcore. Like it's a hardcore dramatization of like a classic comedy, and
Damn.
it's like, yo, I don't know who asked for this, and I get it. You know, you're trying to keep your franchise alive and give it new legs, but we're talking about something that happened like, when was the last one? In like '96.
Dude, I have no idea. It's
You're
so
missing,
long.
yeah. So you've got a whole generational gap, and I guess what you're trying to play to the appeal of is like our age group, and I'm like, you're kind of missing the pulse of that culture. It's very cringy. That's the only word I can come up with.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, and apparently like this the guy in it like made like a freelance trailer, and then of it's of his own creation, and then Will kind of like jumped in like, yeah, this would be a dope idea, got it picked up on Peacock and like funded it, and now he's got all the original players from the show, and they're just the total inverse of who they were in the original.
Yeah.
Like Uncle Phil's handsome. It's just weird, bro. It's weird.
Yeah, Cobra Kai probably is the
Another one.
Is
Yeah,
probably to
another
blame
one,
for a
yo.
lot of that.
Yeah,
I feel like
man.
the success of that show has been.
I watched the first season of that. I get sucked in. It's the nostalgia in me.
Yes. Do you not think though, when you watch Cobra Kai, do you not think that this is terrible?
Yes, the whole time.
It's so bad.
Yo, the whole time I'm watching it, I'm
But
like,
why does everyone love it?
the nostalgia piece, man.
But
They can't escape Ralph Macchio. They love him. They love him. They love Ralph.
dude,
And the crane kick.
I think I'm on like season 2, maybe season 3.
They're playing mind games with us.
I keep thinking it's gonna get better because I
No.
keep reading all these reviews and everyone's like raving about this show,
No.
and it's like so bad,
Terrible.
but everybody's watching it and everyone loves it.
All right. Let's talk about something I liked that I did watch. I went back. What was this? Not last show, but the show before that. You told me to watch Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Oh yeah,
Your lights just cut on? They just do that?
yeah. Well, they are. Like,
As I talk about ghosts, your
smart
fucking lights.
dude. They come and go. You know.
Yeah. So I went back and I put on Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I was completely in it. Like I was like, yeah, I'm here for this. I'm gonna like spoil it now. Essentially, it kind of gives us the Stranger Things treatment with the children kind of going on the journey of uncovering the mystery behind what the plot is. And I thought it was flushed out really well, especially, and it was another thing that played on the heartstrings of nostalgia, but it was a good payoff. We got all 4 Ghostbusters, even in the death of Egon Spengler. I forget the young lady's name that played his granddaughter was really dope. Paul Rudd is amazing in anything he does.
I always find it interesting that he doesn't do more.
Did you watch his show about him being a clone on Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah, that was And then we haven't gotten a season 2. That was
Oh
like
my
soon as the
gosh.
pandemic happened, and then that was it. That was like 3 years ago,
What a weird.
right?
That is blowing my mind right now.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that show.
Yeah, it was like Ant-Man 2 had came out, and then
Yep.
the show came out,
Yep.
and everyone was on a Paul Rudd high,
Yep.
and then the pandemic hit, and then he just went under radar.
Yes.
And but that was such a dope concept, such a dope show, and it was just
It must have gotten canceled. Had to have. There would be another one by now.
it's Netflix. They produce anything.
Yeah,
Netflix and HBO.
They cancel a lot, though.
Yeah.
Netflix makes a lot of stuff, but they cancel a lot of stuff.
Man.
There's a lot of shows on Netflix that only ever got one season. You never saw them again.
That one I was anticipating. But
yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Damn.
were you a Barry fan?
Never watched Barry.
Oh, go watch Barry.
I know. I gotta watch Barry. People have talked about it a lot.
It was one of those sleeper shows where like you watch it and then you're in it like, yo, this is good. And then it just keeps going. And it had the first 2 seasons and then kind of left you with a cliffhanger. I thought the plot was very interesting. It's about a hitman who goes to California to do a job, and in the inner workings of him doing the job, he ends up following the person he's supposed to do. I think he's supposed to do the hit on, and stumbles into an acting class. And he ends up becoming like this incredible Broadway actor, but he still has to like do hits along the way. And he gets in deep and he has to cover up his tracks and all that shit. And it's, I'm highly anticipating season 3. Yeah, I got to go back and do the recap so I remember exactly what happened. But Barry is it's a good one. That's a good one.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to check it out.
A lot of stuff coming. And The Boys. The Boys is season 3. That's coming too. Didn't watch it.
Didn't watch it. I've also had that recommended to me a bunch of times.
Yeah, you'd like it, man.
This is the issue
It's brutal.
with our world nowadays. There's too much stuff to watch.
There is too much. And you got to find like a sweet spot for like how you consume.
Yeah, it's tough because at the end of the day, it's easy to consume nonsense like 90 Day Fiancé rather than to get into something that's like super deep.
Well, this is interesting.
I've been trying to get better at it though. I've been trying to like be more diligent. I've watched some good movies this week, I feel like.
What's your consumption tactic? Like, how do you like take in some stuff and then versus like other stuff?
I pay a lot of attention to reviews.
Okay.
I read a lot of reviews, and that generally dictates what I'm going to be watching next. And like I said, if it's not a Netflix show, I generally will wait a few episodes before I get into it. I like to be able to binge the front half. Most seasons, I think, are really slow these days, at least on the front half. Like the pickup is always just takes forever.
Right.
And yeah, reviews mainly, mostly.
Okay. For me, there's like stuff I'm into. And then there's stuff I watch in bed with my wife. Like, we'll just like a Friday night, we're like, all right, this is out. We're going to watch this. All right. And then like the softer stuff we'll watch on Saturday mornings. Like we'll just let play in the background. And then like if it's interesting, we'll like catch it again. And then like I don't really watch shows. Like I know a lot of people, especially in the work from home stratosphere, like watch stuff while they're working. So me, I do a lot of YouTube while I'm working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, YouTube's big for me.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't talk about
while I'm working specifically.
Yeah.
I don't really watch it outside of that.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's literally like while I'm working. My wife is a big like TV on while she's working.
Emily is that way. She has TV on all the time, constantly. She's watching Housewives indefinitely. She was just getting through Euphoria. That was like her thing recently. She's been crushing that out, and she finished it.
Not a big payoff.
She's very into it. I've not watched. We talked about Euphoria a few weeks ago. I've caught more episodes now for sure. I've watched a good amount of it. Not enough to tell you like what all is happening throughout both seasons. I did not catch the last few episodes of season 2, but it was, I don't know, man. It's a dark show. It's a bummer most of the time. I told Emily, I was like, it's a weird mix because when I'm watching it, sometimes I'm like, damn, I really want to throw a house party and just get like super aggressive.
Yeah, it has some high points.
I want to fight some people all of a sudden. And then other times you're just like, damn, this is so dark and so sad. Like, this is a bummer. And
it has the high point, and then in every high point, it interjects something very dark and low.
Yeah.
Like you said, like the house party, and then kid gets busted over the head with a bottle. Like, bro,
yeah, you kind of like remember house parties, and you're like, oh yeah, like this is a good time. This is fun. And then things take a real quick turn, and you're like, hold on, wait a minute.
I got I don't know.
Now I feel guilty for wanting to do that. I feel guilty for wanting to party.
Yeah, it's kind of a reminder, like, don't party, or you'll get busted in the head with a tequila bottle.
Yeah,
or you'll do heroin in the bathroom.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't do heroin in the bathroom.
I think isn't that Drake's show? It is, right? Yeah. And then because I was talking to Emily about that, and she was like, "Well, it's like a new Degrassi."
Yeah. I said it's like our first show. I was like, I said it was Saved by the Bell.
Yes.
On heroin, but it's essentially he's taken that Degrassi form factor, and giving it legs on HBO, because Degrassi was kind of heavy too. You know, his character got shot.
Yep.
And I think he just was like, more. More.
Just dial it up.
Yeah, dial it up.
Make it worse.
Like, let's actually show people shooting heroin.
Let's make it worse.
That are 17. Like, bro, like, you don't got to be that dark.
No.
Drake's got some,
I don't know,
a weird palette of creation. He's got some other shows out there. He produces that show on Netflix called Top Man. He has a obsession.
He's a weird guy.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to be like friends with him. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I'd be friends with Drake.
Yeah, we all would be. But he just seems like, I don't know.
Drake?
He's got some weird vices.
Drake seems very much what the internet memes make him out to be.
Yeah.
And every time I see him like a video of him like doing something online, I'm like, yo, is he like playing to the memes, or is this like actually him?
It's like what happens when you win at life and there's just, you can do whatever you want now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like whatever you want to do, you can do that thing.
Absolutely.
And you're going to be fine.
He can take the chances.
Yeah, I kind of wish, and he puts out music. It's not to say that he doesn't, but
it's good music.
It's good. I love Drake. I'm a big fan of his music, but I kind of wish he would just get back to that.
Just doing music. Just
fully
engulfed.
I really hate it when art, and this is selfish, but I really hate it when musicians get so big
and busy
that like it just becomes too much. The Weeknd is that way for me. I would probably have classified like The Weeknd as like, you know, one of my top 3 favorite artists of all time. Like I was big on The Weeknd.
I remember
when the trilogy came out.
Yeah,
like, I was like
House of Balloons.
So, and that's like what I still listen to, a lot of that stuff to this day. Not that I don't listen to his new stuff, but now like do you follow him on social media at all? It's like
I see it.
It's too much. It's too much, man.
It's like
Cirque du Soleil is his tour. It's just everything's so wild and big.
When he was running around with the broken nose and like the ace bandages around his head.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I don't know if I want to be a celebrity if this is what happens.
Well, I feel like wasn't
crazy.
that during like the whole like George Floyd thing? Like, wasn't he trying to make a statement about like
I have
brutality
no
and whatnot? I
have
think
no
that was
idea.
like his
way of bringing
way
attention to
of like bringing some attention to that.
people getting killed by police. Is you running around? Okay, all right.
I think that's what it was about. Maybe I don't.
Yeah, all right.
It kind of was all during that time frame. I feel like
He's Canadian too, right?
he is. Yeah, he is Canadian.
Shout out to Canada if we have any fans from Canada.
We don't. We have someone from Chile who listens, but
Really?
yeah,
Shout out to Chile.
yeah, dude.
That's dope.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Chile is South America?
But I'm sure they won't listen again.
They hate us probably.
But yeah, I need artists. I love it when they just kind of stay in their lane. That's my preferred method of, I don't know, career development. Just stick to what we love. But it's not always how it goes.
Quick point. I love your shirt, by the way.
Thank you. Hey.
I mean, while we're just in the pop culture kind of like pop culture box.
Yeah, we ran out of TV shows and movies to talk about, so.
I mean, we got all kinds of shit. I mean, whatever. We could be lazy and like pull out our phones, but like, fuck it.
Going rogue.
Yeah, whatever. Britney was just released from her how do you say it?
Her conservatorship. And
Conservative,
this was,
yeah.
Yeah, this was a few weeks ago, I think, at this point in time.
And I just learned today, actually, and that's the world works in a funny way like that. That I learned that also Amanda Bynes
Yeah.
is in the same shit.
Yeah, I think there's actually more people in it than you think.
Why?
So, that's a great question.
Are they that off their rocker from being famous kids?
I think that if you make a lot of money, I think you are susceptible to not so great people in your life.
Okay.
Like, I think that all of those things get amplified. So I think in the case of like Britney Spears, she had some people in her life who were not as interested maybe in her, you know, in her doing better necessarily, or her getting help, or they were, I think, more in it for their own gain. And I think when you have that, especially when it's a family member or somebody that's close to you, I think it can be manipulated in a pretty outrageous way.
Okay.
So I think it's more common than you think. Somebody that's
just crazy to think.
Somebody who's like on the younger side, child star, a lot of money, a lot of access. All of a sudden they have some issues with substance abuse or mental health or whatever the case may be, and then family members step in and they feel like they could be, you know, a better governor of finances and, you know, whatever, you know?
That's crazy.
Health and et cetera. So I think that, you know, unfortunately in Britney's case, it probably wasn't a stretch to get there. Like, there was probably a lot of things that she had done in the public eye that could be used as evidence against her, which is unfortunate. But it's, you know, you can't say that there weren't some questionable moments. So that was probably used against her ultimately by the people in her life to, you know, place her in that. I'm sure Amanda Bynes is in the same situation.
That's just crazy to me.
And yeah, I mean,
while we're here,
I don't know.
See, this is what we got to do. Like, we got to talk it out. We got to talk through it, right? We got to talk through not having something to talk about, because now it brings me to
Britney Spears.
No, I watched the Kanye trilogy documentary on Netflix, bro.
God. I've not watched that.
Okay,
I'm not really on the Kanye hype train these days.
Okay,
I'm a little far removed from it, if I'm being honest.
Okay, this is gonna be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, let's go. literally at an hour. So
Really?
yeah,
I don't feel like we talked about shit.
Yeah, I know. Nobody will be listening at this stage an hour in. So let's hurry up and get to Kanye.
So Kanye, we all know what's going on with him right now, and his divorce is very public, and Kim Kardashian, of course.
I'd wager that nobody knows what's going on with Kanye right now.
Really? Okay. All right. Well, that too. All right. So there was also a 3-part documentary that was put out on him, which started as a documentary about his first album, and it's narrated, directed, and all of the footage is shot by his friend Cootie and Chike.
And he's involved in the documentary.
Yes.
It's not like he's not. Yeah, it's not like a
right.
Yeah.
He approved it. Kanye was like, "I'm not allowing this to come out until I approve it,"
which basically means he was involved.
Yeah, big. Yeah. So, it's I was a big Kanye fan back in the day.
Yeah, we all were.
Yeah, right. I feel like he was kind of the archetype for a lot of the artists that we got now that allowed themselves to be vulnerable in their expressions, especially like young black men just saying like, I don't have to be of the Jay-Z archetype. I can be of the Kanye and still be cool, right? Yep. So that was, and he birthed like, you know, a lot of like the Kid Cudis and the Travis Scotts.
He forged a path.
Yeah,
for
the
sure.
Drakes, like, you know, like he forged a path for those guys. And the documentary kind of goes into his road of trying to be a successful person. And that is like, it's so dope to kind of like, I think I've said the word nostalgia about 5 times, but if you were a fan of hip hop, like during that time of like the college dropout, seeing, it's a great, it is a kind of a lesson into why he acts the way he does today.
Interesting. Okay.
Because watching this documentary it's like he never started acting like this. He always acted like this, right? It just was amplified with him now being a billionaire, right? He always was kind of left field and exaggerated and passionate and boisterous and
but don't you feel as if we've kind of jumped the shark a little bit? Like, don't you think that things are a little beyond that? I don't disagree with any of those sentiments. I completely agree. He always was somebody who, you know, went to the beat of his own drum, if you will. But I would argue that the last several months or even years, he has crossed a threshold of concern. In my opinion, I would say that probably people in his life, and I have no knowledge of Kanye beyond what's in social media and the papers and tabloids or internet or whatever, but the people even around him seem to also feel the same way. It's hard to imagine Kim Kardashian going from several children with him and being married to him and all these things, and then going to now, and she's making claims that he's obviously not well. Seems as if
he's clearly not well.
Seems like
I don't think he's ever been well.
He's kind of,
and I think
descending here.
He's clearly in a point in his life where he's having some type of manic episode, but I think the difference of now versus then was he had to be able to appease the people he needed, right? In order to get where he's going.
Sure.
And now he doesn't have to appease anyone to get anything done.
Yeah.
He can literally fund himself.
Sure.
I mean, you can go into Towson Mall and pick out 20 teenagers wearing his sneakers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or it's just ridiculous. Like his stuff is everywhere, from music to sneakers to clothes, the homeless clothes. And like, it's just...
The stakes were much higher when he was younger.
Yeah.
It's not the case anymore.
And now he doesn't have to, you know, listen to anyone. Or he's...
Yeah.
It sucks, man. It sucks seeing people you used to idolize get to a point of, what the fuck is going on? Like, that's the best way I could describe it.
Yeah, and there's...
What is going on? It's really
unfortunate. Mental health obviously is like a major piece of, you know, of I think his experience, as I would argue is probably for Britney Spears as well.
Yeah.
Like, there's definitely like a fall from grace that has occurred.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that it's just lack of talent or creativity or skill or any of that. Like, I think that there's obviously
something going on. Yeah,
something more is going on.
And
it's
I
beyond.
I credit Kim Kardashian because she has been a class act during all of this. You know, like, celebrities are celebrities, and you can feel how you feel about people, but, you know, she's just been like, you gotta chill. She hasn't came out and said anything crazy.
Yeah, she's protected the kids quite a bit. I think that's really her main focus. I don't know if she's always like, you know, I don't know. I think she comes out and she can have some pretty terrible hot takes, but I think she's very concerned about the kids and their exposure. I think she has experience with that from the, you know, whole,
the tape.
Yeah. No, not the tape. The whole OJ trial. And everything.
Yeah.
So I think she has exposure to going through those types of like dramatic like dynamics at a young age can impact a child. Like, I think she would have exposure to that. So I think she probably wants to protect her children from, again, different like situations.
Right.
But I think she understands what like society, like what media in like what culture can do to kids in those environments where there's like
you got to keep the kids safe,
tons of drama and whatnot. So I think she's probably focused on that.
And I know we got to go. But this is a great segue. Did you watch the OJ show? What was it called? The World? What is it?
Oh, True Crime.
True Crime.
American True Crime Story.
American Crime.
American Crime Story.
It was the first one.
There's a couple of them. Yeah, OJ was one.
Somebody else. I don't know.
Miami.
Bill Clinton.
The designer. No. Bill Clinton was the third one.
The third one.
Yes.
Versace. Yeah.
Was the second one.
Oh, we're pulling strings today, bro.
Thanks to Sagamore Spirit Rye.
It's getting us through.
I did watch that. I love those. That's a great series from Ryan Murphy, same guy that does American Horror Story. American Horror Story.
We talked about it. Yeah,
fell off quite a bit for me, but
got into aliens and then it got weird.
The first half, and this is where the show goes totally off the rails. The first half of the last season of American Horror Story was great. The vampire portion, and then the alien portion was like absolutely insane. I don't know what was going on there, but the first half of that season I thought was pretty solid.
Because we did we reviewed a season, didn't we?
No, something. No.
We talked about it.
Maybe we talked about doing it, but we never did it.
We talked about the chick who's always in them. We talked about
Sarah Paulson.
Yeah, and I couldn't remember her name, and she's in something else we talked about.
Ratchet.
Was
that what it was called?
What?
The Netflix show.
I don't know.
She played a very similar character in a Netflix series.
I
think it was called Ratchet. I could be wrong. I don't have my phone on me, so I can't look it up.
Sarah Paulson.
But that's her name, yes.
But there was an episode in season 1 where I couldn't remember her name, and every time Josh was like, Sarah Paulson. But
damn.
Yeah.
What was it? It had to be something we were reviewing. Yeah. Maybe she was in Glass. Was that what it was?
Glass. She was in Glass. That's what it was.
There you go.
Boom. Full circle.
That's where it is.
We have run the gamut.
Yes. All right. That's enough. That's an hour and 10. So no one's listening anymore. So
you think so?
let's call this one and we'll pick back up.
All right.
All right.